Hello, and thank you for listening to the Clarity 16.2.1 feature supportability training. I am Vib Mehrotra, and as part of this section, we will be talking about the mobile app version 3.2.7. As part of the Clarity mobile app version 3.2.7, the following capabilities have been added to the application: the ability to view and manage sections within a checklist, view timesheet rules error within the error panel under My Timesheets and review and approve timesheets, ability to open Clarity app in mobile when clicking on a specific link, mobile to hide hours gauge in timesheet based on Clarity settings, and finally, hide timesheet menu based on the Clarity access rights. The reason this is important is because in the previous release of Clarity, we had introduced the capability to have sections within checklist. That capability was added in the modern UX. And as part of this release, we are going to bring the same functionality in the mobile app where the users can view and manage their sections within the checklist. The mobile app was not respecting the timesheet hours gauge setting, and in this release, we have corrected that. With the introduction of the timesheet rules, we are matching the functionality in the mobile app to display the timesheet rules error in the errors panel, which will function similar to the modern UX. And finally, the customers have asked us to easily navigate to either their timesheets or action items or a checklist within the mobile app by just simply clicking on a link. So that capability has then been introduced based on the customer feedback. With that, let's see these five functionalities that have been added to the mobile app. So the first functionality that I'm going to demo is the URL itself. Once you've reviewed all the documentation, the user should be aware that the Clarity out-of-the-box notifications will not have any mobile-specific URLs in there. However, the users can create custom notifications using the syntax that is needed in order for it to open the mobile app directly. In my example that I'm going to be demoing, I have sent an email to myself to essentially, with the URLs in there, that'll take me directly to the mobile app. So I'm in my email account, and in here, before I click on any link, let me just show you that there is no Clarity mobile app that is open. So I'm going to now go into my first email, which is the action item. So I've generated a custom email, and in this email, I've provided a link using the syntax that is discussed in the documentation. When I click on that specific link, it automatically opens up the mobile app for me. And if I have not previously logged in, then it will ask to log in and enter my credentials and log in. In my example, I have already logged in to save time, so it took me directly to the action items page where I can now act on it. So I clicked on the link to go to the action item, and it opened up the action item page for me. Let's go ahead and let's kill the app again. Let's look at another email where a custom email is sent to me that is asking me to essentially populate my timesheet for the time period Feb 5th to Feb 11. There is a link provided in this email saying open here to go to the mobile app. Clicking or touching on that specific link again opens the Clarity app for me, and it should log me in, and then after that takes me directly to my timesheet. So now I'm in the my timesheet page. I can see my current period. I can open that and I can start populating my timesheet. Let's continue with this. So let's go ahead and close this app again. And let's go back to my email. And if I'm a manager and I get a custom email that is reminding me to approve the submitted timesheets, and in that custom email I can send basically a URL that one touching on, the user will then be taken directly to the mobile app's review and approve page. So let's go ahead and touch on that. It again opens up the Clarity app. Because I've already logged in as the user, it authenticates me and it takes me directly to the timesheet review and approve page. And the page opens up and I can see I'm in the current period and I can see all the open and submitted timesheets. And finally, the last one, let's go ahead and close this one again. And let's go to the last one, which is if I have a custom email that is sent to me that's saying that let's collaborate on a checklist, and in that email, if I have the link that can take me directly to the mobile app so that I can start collaborating with someone. So I can do that by now again touching on that link in my email. Does the same thing, opens up the Clarity app, does the authentication, and once the authentication is already there, it takes me to the checklist page. So now you can see that the URLs to take me to the specific pages works for the Clarity mobile app. The next I want to is look at the sections that is introduced in the Clarity mobile app. So this would be the sections inside of the checklist. So I am within the checklist page, and in this case I am going to collaborate or look at the sections within my checklist called end user training. Let's go ahead and open that, and once I open that specific checklist, I can see that in here there are already to-dos under sections. So I can see that there are multiple sections that are created. I can easily collapse those sections and I can expand those sections to see the to-dos inside of it. If I complete a specific to-do within the section, then by going into the completed tab, I can see the same section and the completed to-do inside of it. Now I also see that there are about 2 to-dos that are not inside of a section, and I like to keep my checklist organized under different sections. So let's go ahead and create a new section. And this section will be to track my 2 to-dos that are there. So there is a new menu item under the floating menu in my mobile app called new section. I can touch on that and that will essentially give me the screen to create a new section. And let's call this as completion. And this would be to track the activities for completing my training education. The section gets created and the section is added at the very top of the user screen. So anytime you create a new section, it will be added to the top of the screen. There are no to-dos inside of it. If I collapse and expand, I can see that there are really no to-dos inside of it. To add the to-dos, I can do the following, which is I can either open an existing to-do. So in this case, I want those to-dos that are not under any section. I'm going to move them into my to-dos, and that is done by opening the to-dos, and within there I can see there is a field called section. I can touch on that. It gives me the options, which section do I want to include them in. I'm going to select completion and I will go back out. It will show me that now completion, the certification exam is under the completion. Let's do the same with the training feedback. Let's move this also under completion. And now you would see that both the to-dos are under completion. The second, if I want to add a to-do to inside of completion, I can do so by creating a new to-do, which is again going to the floating menu. Under there, I have the new to-do. By touching on that, it'll pop up the screen that'll ask me the name of the to-do, the due date, and the new field for section. By default, it is none, which means if I do not populate that, it'll just create the to-do as it does today by itself. without being under any section. But let's just call this certificate distribution, and then I want this under my completion also. Let's create that, and you will see that the new to-do is created as the first one under my section. So that's how I can either move a to-do inside of a section or create a new to-do inside of that section. Then I realized that the section name completion is not probably what I want. I probably want to call this as certification because everything in here is related to certification. I can do that by using the swipe functionality. So if I swipe from right to left, the option to edit the section will appear, and I can then just touch on that. It will give me the screen where I can now change the section name. I can say OK. It'll refresh the screen for me, and now it is called certification. If I decide, well, I don't even want the section anymore, maybe it was better to have these to-dos by themselves, and I want to delete a section, I can do so by swiping from left to right. That gives me the delete option. By touching on the delete, it will pop up letting me know that the section will be deleted once I touch on OK, but the to-dos will not be deleted. They will remain in my checklist, and it'll remain in the same position where they are right now in terms of the order. So let's go ahead and say, okay, I want to delete that. And you'll notice that the section is gone and the 3 to-dos are exactly still on the top in the same order as they were when they were under the section itself. All right. Next functionality I want to show is in regards to the access right. So let's first go into the Clarity administration. So here I am under the Clarity administration, which is the Clarity Studio, and I am looking at a specific user, Alex Garcia. I am looking at the access right, and this specific user does not have any access right for either populating time or reviewing and approving time. So that means when this user logs into Clarity, they will not even get the timesheet icon or timesheet link to go populate any timesheet. In the mobile app, up till now, what would have happened for this user is the minute that this user would log in, they would see an error saying that they do not have access to the timesheet itself. Now, moving forward in mobile 3.2.7, we've changed that behavior that if a user does not have time access right, they will not see those time menus within the mobile app. So again, Alex Garcia does not have the access right. Let's go back to the mobile app. And in the mobile app, let's go ahead and log out as the admin user that I was already logged in as. And let's log in as Alex Garcia. I'm logging in as Alex Garcia, and you would notice that the user landed in the to-do page. And if I go to the menu, the user does not have any timesheet access or any timesheet menu link at all. And again, that is based on the Clarity access right. So the user does not have any time access, then they will not see any of the menu in the mobile app for My Timesheet or Review and Approve Timesheet. And again, if the user had only either one of those access right, then they would see those respective menu in the mobile app. Right, let's go ahead and log out as Alex Garcia. I'm going to go back to the Clarity administration, and the next piece that I'm going to show is in regards to the effort gauge. So here under the timesheet option, there is a setting called display effort gauge. By default, it is checked on for every user, and when this setting is turned on, or with this it is checked, then what we do is under the timesheet, we display to the user the effort gauge under the review, which gives you the total counters. So for that, let's go to the user's timesheet. So I'm going to go into the modern UX, remaining as the same user. I'm going to go ahead and show you that under my timesheet, I can see the hours, and if I go under review and approve, I can see the total hours that is there that a user can populate within that week, and how much they have already entered. So in this case, they've entered 0 out of 40 hours. If I go ahead and turn off this setting, and I come in here and I refresh this page, you would see that total hours has been removed from under the review and approved. So that is the setting that is in Clarity. If I go back, just let's turn on this functionality and let's see what will happen in the mobile app. So again, when this is checked on, if I go to the mobile app at this point, let's log in as the administrator again. And once I log in, let's go into the review and approve. And if I open any of these, I can see that the total hours are displayed in the mobile app under the review and approved. Right. Now let's go back and let's turn off that setting. So if I go in, I uncheck the display and effort. Let's save this. If I go back to the mobile app, remaining still as the administrator, I'm just going to go to another screen and come back. Expanding, you can see that the hours is now hidden. So now the Clarity mobile app will respect that setting in the timesheet options to display or hide the effort gauge. All right, the next functionality that I wanted to show is in regards to the timesheet errors and the errors panel that will be there in the mobile app. So let's go ahead and log out as this user. I'm going to go back into Clarity in the modern UX, and in here under the administration, let me show you the timesheet rules that have been defined. So I'll go under the timesheet, and I've defined multiple rules, and two of those rules essentially are that within a week, a user cannot enter more than 40 hours, and if they do, we should display an error to them. So that's the first one, that if my grand total within a week is more than 40 hours, display this error message to them. The second one that I want to show is that if the user enters more than 24 hours within a specific day, so if the daily total is more than 24 hours, then display this error message to them. This is the timesheet rules, and there is also a setting in the timesheet options that controls how should that message be displayed. So which is this right here. It says display the times error as a toast message. I can turn it on or off. So I'm going to turn that on, which is the default behavior. So by default, it should be on. At this point, now if I log in as a user, that can populate and submit their access, right? So let's go ahead and log in as Tom. I'm going to go into the Tom's timesheet, and let's go into the current period. All right, let's go into the current period. In here, there is no task that the user can populate. I can use the floating menu and say, add the task from my assignments. By doing so, it automatically adds the different tasks that this user is assigned to for the current time period. I can use the total hours and populate the daily total. So I've reached 40, but let's just say the user also goes into a specific day and changes one of this value to 30. At this point, I am violating two timesheet rules. The first one, the daily total cannot be more than 24, so I've entered 30 in this case. And the second, the grand total cannot be more than 40, and I've entered 68.4. All right. I have done the population. Let's go ahead and try to submit this timesheet. It'll ask for confirmation that are you sure you want to enter the total hours of 68.4. Let's go ahead and submit that. And notice that there is a toast message that pops up right away that tells me that the total hours for the weekly is being more. So my first error message is being displayed, and then the second one is also displayed right underneath it. So in this case, the error messages are displayed as a toast onto the user because my timesheet option setting was to display the error as toast. I can close this, and the next thing you'll notice is that within my timesheet in the mobile app, there is this new error icon on the top right. This icon indicates that this specific timesheet has failed the error condition for the timesheet rules. I can go ahead and touch on that specific icon, and it'll tell me what those specific two errors were. So in case if I did not track it down or write it down what those errors were when it popped up, I can always touch on that specific icon, and it'll tell me that I have exceeded the 40 hours a week and the 24 hours a day. Both of those errors have conditions have been met. So I can go ahead and close it. So I can always come back to it at any time. If I was the approver and I'm waiting for my user to submit timesheet and I don't know why they haven't submitted the timesheet, I can go into the review and approved, which Tom does not have access to, but I could go in and I can look over there. But let's go ahead and change one more thing, which is let's also look at how this will appear to the end user if I uncheck this display timesheet error. So I can uncheck this, save this value, and let's go back to the mobile app. Let's go to the same timesheet, and let's try to submit it again. Notice the first time when the error message popped up, it came up as a toast. Now if I'm going to submit this, I need to log out and log in for it to reflect that specific change. Since I changed the setting on the fly. Let's go back to my timesheet. Let's submit my timesheet, and now notice that it popped up the message as the error panel message itself. So instead of a toast message, it now gives me a clean message with the error panel in there that it tells me what the actual errors are, and it is nicely formatted for me to see the two errors that have come up. I can close this. The error icon is still there. I can touch on that error icon and get back to it at any point. And again, let's also log out and let's log in as a user that has access to review and approve timesheet. And let's see that if this user, which is the timesheet approver, realizes that my specific end user, Tom, has not submitted the timesheet, I can always go into my review and approve. I can look at the open timesheet. Let's try to find Tom. There is Tom right there. If I open up his timesheet, I can see that Tom has populated the timesheet. I can quickly glance and see that seems to be high, but if you notice, there is this error icon right on the top right corner. That is a clear visual indicator that there is something wrong with Tom's timesheet. I can touch on that and it gives me the same to error message that Tom is trying to submit a timesheet with more than 40 hours and his specific days total is more than 24 hours. So now I have the option to see as the review and approver the same timesheet errors that is there for the user. And this concludes the mobile 3.2.7 training section. Thank you.